lovely people, welcome back to Lovely Not Crochet. Today you're joining me in Tulum, Mexico, and we're going to be learning how to make a really beginner friendly poncho. Super easy to make, it's very easy to work up. There's no decreases, there's no increases, there's no weird or confusing stitches or dynamic about this pattern or about this workup. So if you're a beginner, this one's for you. I was inspired by the cenotes here of Mexico to use this beautiful blue yarn and to give a pop of color while I'm here. This is the yarn that we'll be using. It's a silky soft rayon bamboo yarn. This is a lightweight size 3. It says to use a 4mm hook. However, I don't have my 4mm hook with me, and so I'm going to be using this 3.5mm hook. Feel free to please use the size 4 if you have it. If not, it shouldn't be a big deal to downsize a bit, or you can even go up to a size 5mm hook if you want a looser stitch. So these are our materials today. Let's get started. All right, so you're gonna grab your hook. We're gonna pick up our yarn and we're gonna start by creating a slip knot. If you're a beginner, just follow along, make a U-turn. I call it a U-E or a U-turn. Just pick up that other yarn, twist, and pick up this piece of yarn, not the tail end, but the running yarn. Pull, and then go ahead and throw that on your hook and pull. And you will basically chain the length from one wrist to the other wrist, or your arm span, or basically however long you want your poncho to be, wherever you would like it to sit. And I will show you that next. All right, so I've gone ahead and I've chained this long chain, and I'm gonna kind of show you how I measure it to myself. It's a little bit tricky just because you're doing it on your own. If you can have someone help you, that would be great. If not, this is kind of how I do it. So I've chained up 155. Of course, you would chain however much you need for your length. But basically how I do it is I grab this tail and I hold it. My chains don't begin until here. So I'm just holding this so that I can secure it, because otherwise it's difficult to measure unless it's measuring from finger to finger. And I'm not making my poncho finger to finger. I'm making it about like wrist area to wrist area. And I don't have anything to secure on my wrist. So the way that I do it is I hold the hook and I kind of allow the slip knot to move as I expand my arms, so that I can properly measure it. So I'm gonna show you really quick. So I'm going to extend, and you can kind of see where it's going to fall. For me, this is good, especially because as you wear a garment, it kind of starts to loosen up or it starts to stretch. So just keep that in mind, that your garment will stretch, depending on what yarn you're using, of course, but this one is pretty stretchy as it's like a soft bamboo, and I've worked with it in the past, so I think this should be good. All right, so as you can see, I've moved. It was just way too hot out there at some point, so we're going to continue inside, and hopefully this makes it easier actually for you guys to see. Basically, we're going to be working up this whole thing with double crochets, which is super simple. You're not going to be increasing or decreasing, as I mentioned. It's just double crochets through, and we're basically going to be crocheting a big rectangle. So it's that simple, and I'm going to show you how to place the first few double crochets. We're going to go ahead and yarn over and place our first double crochet, not in this first stitch from the hook, but in this second one right here. So you're going to yarn over, insert your hook. Oh, a little slippery because it's bamboo. Pick up a loop, yarn over, and you're going to pull that through the first 2 loops, yarn over, and pull through those last 2. And there's your first double crochet right there. Typically how I like to do it, sometimes I'll go through the center like that, but then you see this kind of bottom area just is hanging. You can also, if you want a little bit of a cleaner look, yarn over. And you see how this has like a V? If you look at it, it's like a V right here. I like to go underneath both of those
loops, both of those in that stitch. So I'm going to show you how I do that. You can kind of turn it and you can see how there's a little hole here. There's just one loop at the bottom and then two to form the V on the top. So I'm going to show you how I do that. I yarn over and I go kind of in the center here through the middle, pick up the loop, yarn over, pull through two, yarn over, pull through two. And then you can see how it's just a little bit cleaner. See, you've picked up both stitches here. Sorry if it's a little blurry. You've picked them both up and it kind of provides a cleaner look. You don't have to. It will look great if you don't do it that way, especially if you're a beginner. I don't want you to get too caught up in that, but I'm just showing you a couple of options. So you're going to yarn over and then you'll place your hook through the center of the next stitch, pull up that loop, yarn over, pull through two, yarn over, pull through two. Again, you're going to pick up, you're going to yarn over, place your hook in the center, pick up a loop, yarn over, pull through two, yarn over, pull through two. Just a word of advice here, I'm not really holding too much tension here in my yarn, especially because I had to downsize a little bit, so I don't want my stitches to be too tight. I want this to be very drapey, very flowy. Of course, if you don't want yours too drapey or flowy, you can go tighter on the tension. So just one more double crochet here, sorry. So insert, yarn over, insert the hook, pick up a loop, yarn over, pull through two, yarn over, pull through two. And you're going to continue in this way, just placing a double crochet into each stitch all the way down your chain, and I will meet you at the end and show you how you continue to work this up. So we are at the last couple of stitches here, so I'm going to place the last couple of double crochets with you. So I'm going to yarn over, pick up a loop, yarn over, pull through two, yarn over, pull through two, and then this last stitch right here, yarn over, insert the hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through two, pull through two. All right, so this is what we are looking like. This is what you should be looking like, or similar. And now we're going to continue the next row. We're going to chain three. So chain three and turn your work. And then we're going to work back along this row. Now the hard part is over in my opinion. The foundation row is always a little harder, a little wonkier to work with, especially if you're a beginner. You know, it doesn't always come out straight edge. But this will work up much easier because the stitches are more defined, everything is more structured now. So you've chained three, you're going to yarn over and then place a double crochet in that first stitch right here. Pick up your loop, yarn over, pull through two, yarn over, pull through two. Again, remembering that you want to keep tension, or not a lot of tension rather, just to make sure that this is draping nicely, especially if you have like a thicker or a tougher yarn like cotton or something like that. You know, it's a little stiffer and you want that drapey effect. You don't want to tighten your stitches too much. You're going to continue like this all the way down. When you get to the end, you're going to chain three, turn your work, and then you're gonna continue back along that same row, placing a double crochet in every single stitch. And basically this is it. This is how you're going to work up this poncho. I'll check back in with you guys when I have a certain amount of length here that I can actually try it on my body and see if I like it. And it's basically what you're gonna do as well. You wanna just kind of check as you go to see if you like that length or that coverage on your body. So yeah, I'll meet you in a little.
All right, so we are at that point where I feel like I've crocheted enough length for the first part of the poncho. So I'm gonna show you guys what that looks like. This is where we're at. As you can see, and I kind of just bring it up to me and I measure it. So I can see kind of how far it's gonna come down. I counted the rows, it's about 25 rows with my yarn and hook specifically. So obviously that may look a little bit different for you if you're using a different yarn or a different hook, or depending on your size, right? So for me specifically, it's about 25 rows. And now I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys how to make the neck or head hole and then continue from there. All right, so as you can see, we've moved inside, and then I totally forgot to mention, yes, you measure for the length on the front panel. You want to measure the length, you know, how far you want it to come down, but you also want to measure where this lands on your shoulders before we move on to actually making the head neck hole. So you want to make sure it's pretty even. As you can see, this is kind of the front, and you can see where the arm area would be. So just make sure it's as even as you can. I just kind of eyeball it. I don't really measure. I don't know if that's good or not, but that's the way I do it. If you want to take out your tape measure and measure your shoulders, please feel free to do that. This is just the way I do it. And then you want to put it up to you and see how the length of from shoulder to shoulder. So for me, it's about right here. So I'm going to just hold that with my fingers, or you can feel free to place a stitch marker on either side so you don't get confused. You can just save that space. And then we can continue and make the neck/head hole.
So I ended up placing some stitch markers right where it landed from shoulder to shoulder, where I pinched. And what I like to do, just to make sure it's even, is to actually count from here, the beginning of this side of the neck/head hole, all the way to the end of the so-called sleeve, or where the arm's length, just to make sure it's even. So what I'll do is I'll count from here, each stitch, all the way to the end, and then I'll make sure it's even on the other side. So I'll do the same thing. So let's go through it together. So from the stitch marker down to the end, let's hope this is a test, or if my eyeballs are good. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, let's actually pick it up. 53, 54, 55, 56, 57. So that's 57 stitches, 57 double crochets from this end all the way until the stitch marker, which is this side, or the beginning of my neck/head hole. So all you would do is come to the other side and start from this stitch marker and count all the way that way, just to make sure it's even, you know. I mean, I'm sure if you're like a stitch or two off, it doesn't really make too big of a difference, but it calls for neater work. So 1, 2, 3, 4, let me place it flat. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57. Wow. Okay, guys, so it was exactly even, but it hasn't always been that way. So for me, this worked out. It's 57 double crochets from this end to this neck hole part, and then the same thing on the other side. So we're good to go. Once you make sure that you're even, or actually if you are not even, let's say this was like 60 and that one was 57, then you would just shift it a little bit, you know, just shift it a couple stitches and shift the other one so that it's more even. But yeah, so once you've made sure you're even, you have your length, everything looks good, we can go ahead and make our neck hole. So now what we're gonna do is come back to this side where we just finished our last double crochet, and we are going to insert a hook. I've chained 3, and then we're going to turn our work. And what you're going to do now is same thing, place a double crochet into every single stitch. For example, I know I have 57 on this side until I reach this stitch marker over here. I've crocheted basically up until this stitch marker. We have, I believe, 3 stitches left, so let's actually finish those together. So in the next stitch, we'll place a double crochet. Same thing in the next stitch. Okay, and now we've reached the stitch marker. So we're gonna place that down, and we are actually going to count how many stitches, how many double crochets are between this stitch marker and this stitch marker. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so we're not gonna count this one just because we're going to place a double crochet in where the stitch marker is. So start at the following stitch. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. Okay, so we're also not gonna count this one because we're also gonna place a double crochet here. So we have 32 stitches, 32 double crochets in between each stitch marker. So what you're going to do next is pick that loop back up on your crochet hook. You're going to remove this stitch marker and we're going to place a double crochet where that stitch marker was. Okay, and now what we're going to do is we're actually going to chain up 32 stitches in a chain. And that's going to account for this gap here for the neck slash head hole. So let's go ahead and do that. For you, obviously, it may not be 32, so please stitch up accordingly, however much space is in between each stitch marker for you. For me, it's 32. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And now you want to make sure that you're not making it super tight. Just heads up. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. So I've gone ahead and I've chained directly from where that stitch marker was. I placed the double crochet and I've chained 32, which is the exact number of stitches between this stitch marker and this one as we just went over. And we're going to remove the stitch marker and we're going to attach this chain where that stitch marker is by placing a double crochet. So make sure you have that. You secure it with your finger because we're going to remove the stitch marker and place a double crochet. Just like that. So we have attached this chain on the other side where that stitch marker was. And there's your neck and head hole. I'm gonna place another double crochet in the following stitch just to secure it before I move on to my next step, which of course by now you guys should guess is measuring. We wanna try this on and make sure that it actually fits. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so as you can see, we have made that hole right here and we're going to try it on now. And just make sure that it fits. So for me, this is perfect. Has a nice little stretch. It fits my head, neck area, and I like where it lands here on my shoulders. So just make sure that that works for you. And if it fits, then we can move on to making the back panel. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so now we're on to the next part. So we've tried it on and made sure that the neck head hole fits. And basically what you want to do here is finish off this row. So in the same way that we started the beginning of this row before we chained up, now we're going to continue by placing double crochets in each stitch all along this sleeve portion of the front panel. So same thing, in the next stitch you would just place that double crochet and keep going all the way down until you reach the end. Once you reach the end, you're going to chain 3 and turn your work in the same way. So go ahead and continue and I will meet you when I get there. All right, so now I'm meeting you guys. You have crocheted from here all the way down, chain 3 and turned your work. So here we are, and it's gonna be the same thing. You're going to place a double crochet in every single stitch until you get to this neck slash head hole, this double crochet here. I'll meet you there and then I'll tell you how to continue on and begin the back panel. At this point, we are at the beginning of the neck/head hole. You can see I've placed my last double crochet, and you can see that now it's our chain. This is my chain 32, maybe a different number for you. And basically we're just going to place a double crochet as we've been doing, just like we did in the foundation chain. So here you have two options. You can either go, let me turn this around so you can see properly, straight through. As I mentioned in the foundation chain, you can go straight through the V-stitch like this and place your double crochet. Or if you want to try something new, when you turn the chain a little bit, you see there's a little hole. There's that bottom loop right here. I like to place my hook in between, catch both of those loops, and then continue placing the double crochet. I think it provides a little bit neater work. So if you wanted to give it a go, you can. If not, please feel free to just go straight through the center as I mentioned. So I will show you what that looks like. So here would be my next stitch. I'm gonna go in that little hole as I mentioned, and I'm gonna pick up both loops on that V-stitch and just continue to place my double crochet. I'll show you that again. This is my next stitch. I'm gonna go in between and place my double crochet. We're going to continue in this way all the way across the chain, and then just keep going until you get to the other side. Same thing as you've been doing for the front panel. Take your time here, go between both, and continue along all the way along here until you get to the end, where you will place that last double crochet, chain 3, turn your work. At that point, it's super simple. You're going to continue the back panel in the same exact way that you worked the front panel up. And you want to make sure that you do the same amount of rows in the back panel as you did in the front panel. So for me, this was 25 rows. So you're going to want to do 25 rows again on the other side. But I'm going to go ahead and double crochet this chain, and then I will show you what it looks like when I get over here, just so you have an idea before we move forward. Okay, so we've worked our double crochets along that chain and continued along until we got to the end, chain 3, and turned our work. So this is what it looks like now, just so we can make sure that yours is looking similar. This is how the neck/head hole should look. And now basically you're just going to continue. You're going to work double crochet stitches all along just the same, and you'll do the same amount of rows as you did on the front panel for your back panel. Ta-da! Okay guys, so this is the finished product, the finished poncho, or almost rather. It's just, let me show you guys. The rectangle, it's just the rectangle that we worked up, right, with the hole in the center. And it's 25 rows on each side. And you can just slip that right on and wear your poncho. But if you would like something that fits you without shifting all the time, like myself, I personally prefer a little bit more of a sleeve, a little bit more of a sleeve effect here on the poncho, so that I don't have to worry about moving a certain way or it shifting or falling off. So what I'm going to do next, and to finish this off, is to obviously weave in my ends, but then also to slip stitch this closed a little bit right here in this area, just a tad bit, so that it can create more of that sleeve effect. So yeah, let me show you how. We are at the table now. I've folded my poncho and I've lined it up, the corners here. You can take out your measuring tape, measure from top to bottom. It's about 12 inches, and then somewhere at the halfway point would probably be good. Let's go ahead and place a stitch marker there. And what you can do also is just count by row if you'd like. You don't need to measure it. You can also just kind of count how many rows you have slip stitched, so that you can recreate that on the other side. You're going to pick up your yarn. I like to make a slip knot. Don't put it on your crochet hook just yet. First, we're going to join both of these edges, these sides. Starting at the bottom corner, you're gonna find that first stitch. Let's get a closer view actually. Okay, so you're going to find that first stitch, and same thing over here. You're gonna find, kind of match it up. I know it can be a little bit wonky, but do your best. Once you have them both loops or both edges on the crochet hook, then you'll go ahead and add your slip knot onto your crochet hook. Make sure you tighten it. Okay, then you're going to just pull it through all of those loops and chain one to secure that there. Okay. Then we're going to find the next sort of stitch. I know it can be a little wonky because they're not true stitches with the little V like you're used to, but you're going to do your best to just find the next one and then try to match it up on the other side. Okay, I know it looks a little wonky, but they're both on there. I'm gonna yarn over and pull that through all of the loops on your hook without yarning over again. So I'm going to show you again. I'm going to insert your crochet hook into the next sort of stitch that you can find. Same thing on the other side. This looks good. And then you're going to yarn over and pull that through all of the loops on your hook. And continue along in that way. So this looks like a good next stitch for me. I'm gonna place it on the other side as well. And then I'm gonna pull it through all of the loops on my hook. Also, just something to keep in mind while you are slip stitching here. Make sure that you are not really holding too much tension when you slip stitch. Just keep it nice and loose. You don't really want to tighten here because then this will start to look scrunched and it will give it like a weird kind of looking effect. You want it to be loose. Remember, the poncho is kind of drapey and loose and flowy, so you want to keep this edge nice and loose, not too much tension, so that it has that stretch and it doesn't start to tighten up and kind of like coil up or scrunch inward. Okay, so we are basically on our last couple of stitches here. Let's go ahead and move this stitch marker first. And I know that I'm ending right here, so just keep that in mind. Pick up the next one, the next stitch on one edge, and the next stitch on the other. And again, keeping loose tension, pull through all of the loops on your hook, and we're going to do that one last time to finish off here. All right, and we are done. This is our edge here that we've slip stitch closed. So now to fasten off, let's move this. We're going to get our scissors, get a nice amount of length here because we're going to have to weave this in. Snip that. And then I like to just chain one and then pull that yarn through and tighten that. We'll fasten, or I'm sorry, we will weave these ends in through that same seam. And there you have it. You've created an armhole here on your poncho. And we're going to do the same thing to the other side. So make sure you're not turning it inside out right now. You're gonna leave it on this same side and you're going to just turn this around, line it up the same way you did on the other side, and then slip stitch those edges closed, just as I showed you, starting at these corners right here. Don't mind these extra tails. Just to show you again, what I did was just matched everything up, folded the poncho up, and then from one end to this end, I measured 12 inches, and I'm finding about the center point, which is right here. And I'm gonna go ahead and just place my stitch marker. Struggle bus here. Okay, place the stitch marker. and then slip stitch your way from this corner up and then fasten off. All right, everyone, so this is the other side. Honestly, I may have done it a little bit tight, even though I told you not to do it. Do as I say, not as I do, right? There's always room for improvement here, but this actually is a good lesson. This goes to show you what it looks like if you do it a little too tight. It can kind of scrunch inward. I'm not gonna worry too much about it, it's okay. No one's gonna really notice, but if you do keep too much tension, it can affect your garment depending on what you're making. All right, so I want to show you how I weave my ends in. All you need is a darning needle, and you're going to use, obviously, the same tails that need to be weaved in. So insert your yarn into your darning needle hole. And then we're just going to be working up this seam, this edge here, to hide this tail. So you're not really, I mean, you're just, it's a little wonky, just do the best that you can. Work it through. Just looking for any little stitch that you can slip this through. And I kind of like to go back and forth, so I just went this way. So on the next one, I will look for a stitch and put it in the other way. This ensures that it's not going to be slipping out. And then I just kind of work my way through like this. All right, I think I'm actually going to stop there. And then what I like to do is kind of turn it around and then work my way back down. And this ensures that the yarn that you've weaved in is not going to slip out randomly. So now we're gonna work our way down in the same manner, going from one way to the next, kind of like in a zigzag. And you don't want to pull too tight because, again, you don't want to scrunch your work. And make sure that you're staying on this, oh, there she goes again. Make sure that as you're weaving in, you're staying on the back side. You're not poking through to the front so that it's not seen. I'm gonna finish there. And we can go ahead and just pull it a little bit and snip that off. And then I like to just give it a nice little tug. And that one's done. I'm going to finish this off, finish the rest of them. I have a couple of other tails. I'm going to weave those ends in, and then I'm going to show you what it looks like at the end. And here she is. I love how this poncho turned out. I hope you loved it too. Congratulations if this is your first ever poncho that you've made, and thank you for joining me on this poncho tutorial. I just really love this one. I hope you love it too. It's such a easy workup. It's just a rectangle and a hole, and you throw it over, and it's so easy to work up once you get the rhythm, once you get the hang of it. And it's really something that can elevate any look. You can even use it as a bikini cover-up depending on the material you use. But yeah, anyways, I appreciate you joining me. Thank you, and let me know if you have any questions, any comments, any feedback on this pattern, or anything you'd like to see next. Leave it in the comments below. Thanks, happy crocheting.